Hello everyone, my name is Holly and today I'll be sharing a stack of books with you that I highly recommend you read this spring. That's right, spring is here. It's time for new beginnings. Flowers are blooming. Well, sort of. They're dying immediately when it goes from 80 degrees to like 30 degrees overnight. The grass is getting greener though. The sun is staying out longer and spring cleaning is among us. I don't know about you, but not only do I think of deep cleaning the house and getting rid of clutter, but I actually do this with my clothes too. I go through all of my clothes to see like what I haven't worn in over a year and donate it and fill those now empty spots with some new comfy clothes. And that's a great segue into today's sponsor, which is Parade, who I am so excited to be working with. They were very generous and sent me a big package full of stuff. Now, if you don't know who Parade is, they are a website chock full of a variety of undergarments that caters to everyone. They celebrate diversity and size by including a large selection of colors and sizes. So yes, I will be showing underwear and bras in just a moment, but most of my audience are ladies anyways, so I'm sure you don't mind. So I'm gonna start with the bralettes, and honestly, these kind of look like swimsuits, so I don't really feel too weird showing them on camera. So I have here the Dream Fit Triangle Bralette, and I think it's super cute. The fabric is so soft and buttery, and then it has this mesh panel on the back where it clasps like the classic bra style. I got mediums and everything, by the way, if that helps you for reference. It's really stretchy, so it's not like tight on my back, which is always great. And then I also have two of the luminous glow triangle bralettes, which are even silkier. The black one kind of makes me feel like a badass for some reason, I'm not gonna lie. And they have like a million patterns to choose from. I've already worn all three of these because I wanted to give you guys my honest opinion, and honestly, these fit great. I was pleasantly surprised as someone who's like in between a medium and a large. Let's move on to the underwear, shall we? I have three pairs of the vintage Rib Second Skin high rise briefs. Here's what these look like in front of my face. These are so freaking soft and they live up to their name. You can see the material here up close. It's not itchy whatsoever, and it seriously feels like I'm wearing nothing. And again, very stretchy. They don't dig into my big thighs, that's for sure. You can use my code HOLLY40 at checkout for 40% off, or use my special URL www.yourparade.com/holly40. All of that will be linked down below for you. Thanks again, Parade, for working with me today. Alrighty, let's talk about those books. I think I've created a really exciting list here of some really cool epic fantasy, starting with Fathom Folk. Now, this is a most recent read of mine, and I personally found it just okay. But I will never tell you guys not to read a book, because what didn't work for me might work for you, and I'd hate for you to miss out on a potential favorite book. So yeah, I'm recommending Fathom Folk. The cover alone just screams spring in my opinion, with these very muted pinks and blues and like peach. I don't know, it screams spring. This is an adult fantasy that takes place underwater, kind of reminiscent of The Little Mermaid, while still being very unique and different. Essentially, there is a clash between humans, who live on top obviously, and Fathom Folk, which consist of like sirens and sea witches and kappas who live below in the polluted waters. We follow a water dragon named Nami and a half siren named Mira, who join forces to seek equality, but they must decide if the cost of change is worth it. This book dives really heavily into some like very current issues, including the topic of the ill treatment of refugees. This book will actually make you angry while you're reading it. What I will say, one of the things I really loved about it, especially about the story, was the world building. It was great. I just think this fits well into the mold of what the season of spring means. Just like fresh and new and change, especially change. And this book follows characters who fight that like broken system in their own ways. Yeah, I recommend giving it a try, and I hope you love it. Next up on my list is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. Another one of my most recent reads. I'm reviewing a lot of books that I read in March in this video, but that's okay. I might not even be filming a March reading wrap up because I am DNFing books left and right, but here are some that I read. I couldn't have read it at a better time though, because what a perfect spring read this is. This is a cozy fantasy series delving into fae and folklore worldwide. It features our protagonist, Emily Wilde, who is this introverted bookworm, and she's a dryology professor at Cambridge University, exploring fae customs. Emily is writing an encyclopedia of fairies, and she travels to a Scandinavian village to study and document their local fairy population. But then her academic rival shows up and magical adventures ensue. It's very light academia. There's a cute dog companion, and yes, there's that rival character named Wendell, and though romance isn't my cup of tea, especially the grumpy sunshine trope, I've mentioned before that I feel like that's the cozy version of enemies to lovers, in my opinion. Their banter was top-notch and very lightheartedly funny. You can argue this is also a good winter read because it does give off that like chilly vibe, but that's why I think it fits spring too, because spring is like, it's like cardigan weather, and that's what this book reminded me of, just a big cozy cardigan. Oh, and the sequel to this is out, so you can binge them both if you want to. Next up, I want to recommend The Tainted Cup. This is also a brand new release. It just came out in February, I believe. Yeah, I think February. So if you haven't gotten around to it yet, definitely add it to your spring TBR because, oh man, it was a wild ride. Though it does involve killer plants, and I think that counts. Killer plants deserve love too, just as much as pretty lilies and daffodils. Okay, wait. Lilies are deadly to cats, so they are killer plants. Anyways, there's one sentence that I think best describes this. If Sherlock Holmes and John Watson lived in a more high fantasy version of Attack on Titan. So we have a society that is laid out in rings, and the purpose of the outer rings is to stop leviathans, basically mountain-sized sea monsters. If you've played Subnautica, the video game Subnautica, you know exactly what I mean when I say the word leviathan. And your heart kind of stops if you've played that game, from breaking through and wreaking havoc across the land, kind of like Attack on Titan. And in the midst of all that potential danger, we are investigating a really strange murder with our detective characters, where someone was found with a tree sprouting out of their chest. I don't want to say any more than that, because you absolutely should go into this book with as little information as possible. It is a phenomenal start to a new series, and my attention never wavered for a single chapter. I was so enamored by everything, even the magic, because this is a high fantasy, and the magic is science-based, I'd say, where humans can like be altered in various ways to give them special abilities. I don't know. It was really refreshing. And that's the word that I'm like focusing on in this video. Refreshing fantasy for spring. Next book that I want to recommend to you is The Cats of Silver Crescent. So this book actually isn't released yet, but it releases in April. It looks like its release date was actually pushed up slightly because I'm pretty sure it said May when I read this, but it comes out in the middle of spring. So I feel like it's okay to mention it here because, man, this is such a good book to pick up for those warm spring sunny days. It's basically about a young girl who finds a group of talking cats living next door. They stand upright, they wear clothes, like really adorable clothes, and they like to garden and read. All cat lovers rejoice. This is for you. Don't miss out on this one. It's super cozy and a really quick read. It's not part of a series. It is a standalone. I believe that it's middle grade as we are following a 12-year-old, but I enjoyed it as a 31-year-old, so truly for all ages. I can't recommend it enough. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it also fits like Halloween. So a spring Halloween read, whatever you want to read it, just give it a try. And lastly, if I could recommend you a very magical book, it would be The Book of Doors. Another March read for me. I might as well say this is my March reading wrap up. I highly suggest you pick this one up if you enjoyed The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Haro, which is a book I adored so much, so it doesn't surprise me that I enjoyed this one. See, though I love me a good medieval, bloody, brutal, sword-fighting, dragon fantasy, I can enjoy my like magical realism now and then. I have a heart. So here we follow Cassie, who is a girl working in a bookstore. Her favorite customer gives her a book, and it looks super unique with odd drawings and words that are strung together in a weird way. After some events, she realizes that it can transport her to other locations just by opening a random door, aka the Book of Doors. It makes sense. Her and her best friend set out together, traveling anywhere their hearts desire, but they soon discover that they aren't the only ones with a magical book, and they are being hunted by the not so nicest people. I really like this one. It actually surprised me. I kind of went into it with a little bit lower expectations, but yeah, I came out of it with a really great feeling, and I think it fits the spring vibe. It's magical, it's refreshing, and it's also new. It just recently came out, so I just absolutely had to add it to this video. Alrighty, so that's going to be it for this stack of recommended spring fantasy. So not only do we get to watch leaves and plants begin to grow soon, but your TBR as well. You're welcome for that. I do hope that you found something to pick up. If you have something that you recommend, please tell us in the comments below, because I would love to know what you think makes a great spring read. It can be any genre, honestly. Before you go, don't forget to check out that parade discount below in the description box. If you use my code Holly40 at checkout, that will save you some money. Like this video and subscribe if you are not. I'd love to have you here, and until we meet again, happy reading.